remember in the university days when the first game came out um, on command prompt. So we were playing it when we did night shifts during experiments and so forth. And we were playing it, and we had these big sheets of paper from the plotter. And where we drew out where we went left, we went right, there is this monster, there is this. And then we had sort of, the different levels on different sheets of paper. And now, okay, we're on level 4, next paper. And paper number
Nobody
4.
believes you now, Jacqueline. Nobody believes you. Like, you're kidding me. How the hell could you play a game like that?
Yeah, you play. I remember, I mean, we played this for hours because there was nothing else to do. We just had to sit
Hmm.
there all night or, and we did this shift work. And we had so much fun. And I remember there was this one thing where there was a Ming vase, the Chinese
Yeah, yes, your Ming
Ming
Dynasty
vase. I was
rise.
all,
Yeah, yeah.
well, it looks like I'm supposed to pick it up. So you type in pick up Ming vase. That's how it works. It picks up. So now I have the Ming vase. And at some point later, there was, I don't remember this so precisely, there was a pillow. I came across a pillow or cushion, a cushion. And
Mhm.
I thought, interesting, pick up cushion. So I picked up the cushion because I thought, well, it's something I might need. And then there was something, I don't know why, but it triggered me to drop the Ming vase.
Oh,
And
because
when
you
it,
had the Bing vase in your hands and you tried to pick the pillow up, and
well, the
therefore you
thing
dropped.
is, which was another step, the thing
Mm.
is, when I dropped the Ming vase, it was like, it splashed, it broke into pieces. And
Mm.
then I thought, oh, this is what the cushion is for. I need to drop the cushion first and then drop the Ming vase. Can you imagine? After all
Uh,
these years, I still remember this. This is
yes.
how this game was played. And then you
Yeah.
all the way to the start, and then you have all your, you have it all drawn out which way to go and what to pick up and what to do and who to kill and who to fight. But it
Wow.
was a command line prompt.
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah.
that. I mean, but it was fun. Yeah, real fun. Yeah,
Yeah. I
those
remember
were.
getting the kids a Nintendo and Alex the Kid. It was the game, and I was like, oh my God, look at this! This is incredible. And of course, it's come on so far since then. It's like, yeah.
Laugh about it. I mean, it is just, yeah, it is incredible. Yeah, I don't sort of play computer games. I really don't have the time for it, but I do understand how you get sucked into it. It's so real,
Mm,
especially you have the headsets and everything
mm.
in it. It's just, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, um, I'll be completely lost these days with computer games. I probably will be too slow and everything. But
Oh,
yeah,
what? There's another thing, like there's, I mean, professional game players now, professional tournaments,
yeah,
and these guys are learning, guys and girls learning, just like the golfers learned when Tiger Woods came on the scene that fitness of mind and body matter when it comes to hand speed and computers and computing speed. So they are actually treating themselves or being treated as athletes,
mm,
um, even though they are not doing a great physical amount of work in their actual competition. That fitness, that level of fitness and well-being makes the difference when it
yeah,
comes down
yeah,
to the top,
yeah.
top, top
And
players.
and yeah, there is a physicality to it.
Hmm.
It's you gotta have your mind, your thoughts, and your bodies aligned to react so quickly. Um, yeah. Well, so much to computer games. I don't, I don't even, I don't even play. But I know parents with younger children they play computer games, and some parents get quite good at it.
And apparently, this is something they're saying in terms of cybersecurity. This is a really good idea to play games with your kids. You know,
It
to
is.
learn and yeah, because then you know the trapdoors, you know who they're playing with, you know.
Oh,
So
right,
it's
right, right. Yes,
so
yes.
you
I
know
mean,
from that point of view, I could
uh,
all I can say to you is oh wow, I'm so glad the Australian government has had the guts to say something about social media and this whole thing around child safety. Having lived through raising Lucille's kids with open slather on computers, it's just not. It's not good. Their
yeah,
brains are not developed enough to deal with it,
that's right.
and the problem is that the computer is actually changing physically their brains.
Mm. It
So
it is.
yeah.
We're realizing or learning this now,
Mm,
the impact of it, and children are supposed to develop naturally, as in playing outside with other kids, and that's how the whole brain nervous system
mm,
develops. Yeah, and apart from that, there's the whole dark side of the internet as well. I mean, raising kids these days with this technology, as a parent, you have to make yourself knowledgeable, and you have to put measures into place. There's no way around it. You can't say, "Oh, I don't know
definitely.
it." You,
Yeah,
then you, yeah, you can't
my
say, "Oh, I
kids all
don't
have
know."
limits on their screen time. They know that if a kid's playing up, they can just give the kid their phone and the kid will play. You know that they
Yeah,
just it's an instant silence. It's an instant satisfy. It's a, an obvious solution. But the problem is, what is it doing to the kid?
yeah,
So they are all very, very careful about this. Um,
that's good.
and so, yeah, fingers crossed. But also, I think this generation of kids, they're digital natives. My kids aren't. My kids were the last of the analog natives. I Brianna was born in 1990. She's my youngest child.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that predates the browser. And I
yeah,
always say 1993 was it. That's when the world changed. Um, but even then, they had nothing like what's out there now.
yeah.
But they'd at least have a
Nothing
taste
like
for
it.
it.
Yeah.
But these kids, my grandkids, they're total natives. I mean, Brianna nearly burnt our house down at 2 years old because she figured out you put bread in the microwave and you push buttons and so she put bread in the microwave, push buttons, and 20 minutes later there's smoke coming out of the microwave. Well, she's just been a kid, just doing what kids
Yeah,
do,
that's
copying mum.
that's right. That's what kids do. Yeah, yeah. That is. I mean, I would also, in regards to these technologies, and with little kids, I would avoid giving them any tablets as long as I can.
Yes.
The, this is yeah. I would not a 2, 3, 4 year old give a tablet in the hand.
Yeah, give them a book.
Yeah, I I've done a similar thing with my daughter back in the days with sugar stuff. She didn't
Mm.
get any sugar, anything in the first few years because they don't know. So it's very easy
Yep.
to avoid it and
We
not
did the
give it to
same
them.
thing with ours.
Yeah,
And that included juice and certainly fizzy drinks. You know, they had
nothing,
the choice of
nothing.
water or milk, pretty much.
That's right. Or very watered down herbal tea. That's right. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even put honey or sugar in it.
Mm.
And they don't know any different.
No.
And then she got her first biscuit by someone, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but you can manage it very, very well. It is tough, it's hard
Mm.
at
Mm.
times, but not in the first few years because they virtually don't know it. And the same with these
That's right. Once they get to
tablets.
school, it's a different game
Yeah.
because
And
you've got all these other influences that come into play.
yeah,
Um, but Lou, I think
The,
one of the best stories I ever had is that when I first met Lucille, her youngest was only 7, I think, 8, something like that. And she's asking her mum for green chips. And I go, what the hell are green chips? So it's seaweed. She used to give them, instead of giving them chippies, she would tear up seaweed, sheets of seaweed. And the kids loved it, absolutely loved it. They go looking for it. And it's because it's
that's
so good for them. It's not, and it's tasty. It's not
yeah,
untasty, you know.
green chips. I love it.
Green chips,
Um,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
but that's why
yeah,
she's done. She's got an amazing control. She was brought up the same way by her mother, so that was a very insightful for Natalia way back in the day, back
yeah,
in the 60s and
yeah,
70s.
yeah,
So, but anyway, yeah, it's
yeah.
a different
That,
world, and sometimes I feel. Well, actually, that's why I like what we're doing here, Jacqueline. We're bringing our wisdom, our knowledge, of what we know to the table in an effort to present that as our
yeah,
perspective or potential solutions for problems that younger people in the workforce and in leadership are having. Because that's pretty much, and I'm not saying I'm ready for the grave yet, but it's pretty much all there's left for me to do because you know, I'm in the retirement age. I'm not in the starting the career age. So,
actually, are you? I wouldn't have thought so.
ha ha ha.
I'm I know. I'm I'm in the give it a last shot age. That's my last shot. And but the thing is, this is going to be a very focused cannon shot, not just, this is my
Yeah,
last,
not random spraying of
not
bullets
right.
everywhere. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. This is going to be,
Mm, mm.
um, yeah, because I think it is very, very important, and it's so interesting. Like, I go to the gym, and I was listening, sort of overhearing some of the younger girls. I mean, they were like maybe in the early 20s, 21 or so. They were talking about anxiety, and also the trainer um, sometimes mentioned, anxiety in the context if someone comes to the gym, and it's a very masculine gym, it's a tiny gym, and
Yeah.
some female, there are quite a few women, and that can be a little bit intimidating. Oh, you go for the first time to this gym, and it's all very
Mm.
sort of Spartan games like,
Yes.
uh, but they're very lovely trainers,
Mm.
and then I kind of mentioned to them, look, I've overheard you talking about anxiety and stuff. And I gave them a brief rundown on anxiety, that there is a purpose in anxiety also, and there's a healthy relationship to anxiety. They were looking at me, and I said, yeah, most people don't know this, and your teacher probably doesn't know it. And if you kind of look at it from a different perspective, it actually focuses you. And then the trainer said, yeah, it keeps you in this zone, in this focused zone, when you have that little bit before a trial or a championship. And I said, exactly, that's part of it. So
Mm.
and I was really happy to give them a different perspective on it. So it's not, because people don't know often what to do. I feel
Yeah.
anxious, like, keep it. No, you can actually be with it, process it, move on. It helps you to
Mm.
focus. But if it's out of balance, if you're anxious all the time, you wake up in the morning and your heart rate is going up, then there is something out of balance. And so there are sort of these two sides of it. So that
Yeah.
was really interesting.
I remember a psychologist once saying to me that if somebody ever says that they're going to remove all the stress from your life, so let's equate stress with anxiety because it's a very similar feeling. Um, Run. They're going to kill you.
Yeah,
Because there is no way you can exist in the world without stress or anxiety. And if you think about that in the most simplest form, oh, I've got to go down to the supermarket to get the groceries. Best I write a list, otherwise I might forget something. That's anxiety at work. I write a list so as I don't get there because I'm anxious about forgetting things. It's as basic as that. So yeah, it is. I totally agree with you, but you just can't. So when you embrace it though, and you realize it has a role to play, in your life, but only a role, it's not the boss, um, then you get that healthy relationship. And that's a word, those are words that we use frequently, but it
Mm.
really is what it's about, having a healthy relationship with
Yeah.
anxiety.
Yeah, it's with all aspects in life. There's a healthy way of eating, a healthy way of exercising. You could exercise too much, and it's not good for your body. You can exercise not at all. It's not good for your body. So there's a sort of this healthy way, and anything we feel is there for a reason. It's not there
Hmm.
to be necessarily avoided. It's there. It gives you information, and anxiety, keeps you focused. If you want to buy a property, or you start a new project, or you get married, anxiety might kick in. Oh my God, am I doing the right thing? That's meant to be, because then it focuses you on that next step, and you give it enough attention to think it through and see, oh, have I forgotten something? Am I getting married too early? Should I be marrying now? Maybe not. Maybe in 10 years. These things. And it's quite normal. And as you process it, then anxiety also, subsides a bit.
Yes, when you
Um,
look into it and you do your homework, do your work around it. How do
mm,
you know whether something's a fear is real or not? Well, the answer is do your homework, dig
mm,
into it, and find out whether there is something
mm.
there or something to be actually worried about or not.
Yeah.
This is a lovely bridge into today's subject, which you've said middle managers feel forgotten. No map, no recognition, no rise. Well, I would imagine if you're in that situation, you're going to start feeling fairly high anxiety around your future, aren't you? You're going, oh, wow, what do I do now? In
That
those
that's
circumstances.
that's
And
that's
I'm going to
right.
suggest again, that's when you get the shovel out and start digging into it. What's going on here?
That's right, because if that's the case and you feel anxious, that's appropriate.
Mm,
And also, the people around you, before we dig into that middle management process there, the people around you often may not have a healthy relationship with anxiety either. They may not know how to process it,
mm,
or the teachers in class may not know. That's not a rampage against teachers. I really acknowledge them, but they may not have that healthy relationship. They may not know how to deal with anxiety. So, you kind of could sit in, or your parents may not know how to deal with it. And then you sit in that bubble of nobody knows the thing with anxiety, and everyone is just causing more and more anxiety. And that's where we're sitting often in society. It just snowballs and becomes more and more. And then you're in middle management, you find yourself in middle management, and then you want to, not because of anxiety, but you think, well, how come I'm getting this promotion? This other guy got the promotion. I'm more qualified, maybe. Um,
mm,
yeah, so and that causes even more frustration and anxiety. Or shouldn't be
mm.
laughing. It's not a laughing matter.
But it's like
Um,
the frog in the pot, isn't it? Like you put the frog in the pot, cold water, slowly heat it, frog doesn't jump out because it
yeah,
doesn't know any better, right? This is the thing. And
and
yet
and it's
managing anxiety is a massive part, or managing yourself, believing in yourself, listening to yourself, and that is all part of managing anxiety, um, is key to being contented with your life, that you've achieved what you want to achieve
yeah,
and got where you want to go to.
yeah,
And but by the way, all the glittering prizes aren't always what they're made out to be. But the real trick is to get to your grave with a sense of contentment that you've got through life well, and those that are behind are doing well, moving on. That's to me, that's my view of it anyway. And this management of anxiety is a huge part of it. I made a list of ways of being just before around this issue of middle management, feel forgotten, no recognition, no rise. And I thought, well, congratulations. If you've realized that, And I'm serious. If you realize that, it shows some awareness. We can work with
That's right.
awareness, you
Yeah,
know,
that's right.
shows at least a
You at least
glimmer
you're
of
aware
a
of it.
healthy relationship with awareness. Otherwise, you'd be going around the circles going, I just don't understand. I don't get it. What's going on? You know, like, well, hang on. No. This is the reason. This is the cause. I don't have a map. I'm not getting any recognition, and I'm not getting the pay rise. I'm not getting the promotion. I'm not going, well, okay. Now you have a starting point. Great. Then there's other ways. So what I'm going to invite our listeners to go look at this. This is your relationship with vulnerability, your relationship with authenticity. And why is that important? Because authenticity, being valuing the truth, is what we mean when we talk about authenticity. Valuing that what comes out of your mouth actually rings true in reality. In other words, you're dealing with reality. You become a trustworthy person because people can believe that you go to the effort of making sure that what you're saying is authentic and what your opinions are is authentic, is correct. And you are now dealing in reality vis-a-vis some made up idea of what you think it is. Because you might think that you have more experience, or you might be telling yourself you have more experience or better qualifications or something. You will certainly be telling yourself stories about what the boss thinks because you don't know what the boss thinks unless you've lined up and asked them. It's
Yeah,
just a
and
story.
that's actually that was also my point. You know, you don't get a promotion in silence. Oh, someone will find me or see me. No, you actually, it's like you have to shine your light in an authentic way, in vulnerable way, and you have to like, oh, so and you have to talk to your manager. You have to say,
Yeah.
this is, where I want to go. It doesn't, as you mentioned, it doesn't come from nothing, and that requires authenticity and vulnerability, being
Hmm.
open, because the manager might say, okay, I see that this is where you want to go, but as you said, maybe you're not ready yet.
Yes. You
But
need to be open for that.
yeah, you need to be open for that, and you need to have the tracks lined out for it. So,
Mm,
it doesn't happen by chance.
mm,
Sometimes it may happen if someone is such a super achiever, but you also have to, it's also authentic to show what you and your team has done. And I always find it quite sort of important to show, okay, my team is now working on this, we're taking on this extra work,
mm.
and the team has done it. So put the team into a positive light. It will fall back to you as well.
I
And
totally agree with you.
yeah,
Totally 100% agree with you. In fact, Brian Tracy says that luck, got lucky, right? Luck is
yeah,
a head-on collision between preparation and opportunity. The more preparation you do, the luckier you tend to be. And
yeah,
and by preparation, you're right, Jacqueline. Like you because I've written down another word I've written down here is you. This is having the courage, and courage is only necessary when we're being vulnerable. So when we need to build the team, we need to get to build the team behind us. We need to show the team that we value the team, that we need the team, that the team is important to everything. So you as the leader and the middle manager, and you are a leader in a middle management position, um, you're the one who needs to open up and encourage everybody to be the best they can be and be vulnerable to listening to their ideas and implementing them and not being, I know it all, because that could be a big problem. No matter how talented you are, I've actually seen people passed over, absolutely brilliant, simply because they weren't capable of bringing people with them. So the management knew that was a problem.
and that also, according in the context of the management, that also should be managed. The person needs to learn about it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
And again, that's a
yeah,
healthy vulnerability. Go to the person and say, listen, you're not going to get this promotion. And the reason you're not going to get this promotion is that, but you're lucky if you have a manager that will actually do
that's
that. Because
that's
again,
right.
you're more likely Jacqueline, you said before, you have to go and see the manager. You don't, things don't happen. You go and say, okay, well, I put my hand up for that role. I didn't get that role. Can you help me? Why? So as the next time it comes up, I'm properly positioned. You said the tracks. You put the tracks down, they're going to take you there. It's not going to happen by accident. Because you
That's
have the
right.
guts to walk in and ask, please give me criticism,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
please tell me why. Yeah. And just remember you are asking, so you best listen and take it on board. And even if you think it's total and utter rubbish, listen, cogitate, walk out, talk to your wife. Not anybody at work, talk to somebody outside, how you feel about it. And really, if your opinion, which it is, that this is rubbish, and I think it's telling something. Again, I keep saying on this podcast, dudes, if you're not getting where you are now, then time to change jobs. There's plenty of jobs out there. Having said that, make sure you've learned all the lessons where you are now and you've resolved them against yourself, because here's an absolute rock solid fact. You take you with you. And if you haven't sorted yourself out,
It'll
then when
come
you go
again.
to the next job, guess what? You'll have the same boss. All you'll have achieved is a different view from the window, maybe,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you are actually the master of your outcomes.
And that comes back to the awareness conversation, authenticity, and having the discernment. Is it actually the environment that is so dysfunctional that I'm at the wrong place there? Or am I having some blind spots and I'm not seeing this? And
Oh, that's almost guaranteed, isn't it, Jacqueline? I mean, we all have blind spots. It's a third certainty of life. You don't know what you don't know.
yeah,
So
I
the
don't know,
question is
but
not whether we have blind spots or not. The question is, how can I find those blind spots? And the answer is, the best people to tell you about the blind spots is, the 360 feedback is very valuable. Ask the troops that are following, ask the commanders that are leading, ask those, and often these people are incredibly valuable, those that you have working relationship with, but neither answer to you when you don't answer to them. It's just a simple staff relationship. They've not got a dog in the race. So, the valuable feedback they give you as to how others are seeing you
Hmm.
enables you to yeah, be a fan of awareness. The more you can be aware, which requires vulnerability again. I'm
and
going looking for feedback. But
and
if you do
and
that, people will
and not
teach you, won't they, Jacqueline?
yeah, and even your worst enemy in quotations often has the best feedback for you. That
True point.
there might be there is usually a little splinter in there that really is painful, but that's often quite truthful. Um,
Mm.
and I think what I also see a lot is that people, I mean, we are so afraid of public humiliation as human beings, and this is where the vulnerability comes in. But you got to stand up for yourself. You got to shine your light, not over exaggerating, but you got to actually state it. You got to put it in words. I mean, I used to work in engineering, software engineering type of environments where people who work in the design and the software development and the testing teams, they were usually a little bit more introverted. The people in sales and marketing were more extroverted. And so the more introverted, they need to learn to stand up for themselves and say, I've done this, I've fixed this incredible difficult memory leak. So people actually see it. And I noticed that this was often their downfall. And then while others, in other departments, I mean, they are sort of tendencies that kind of tend to attract certain type of people a little bit more than others, um, who had in that area an advantage, but it may not always have been authentic. they were just brave enough to speak it out. So yeah, but I also always found that if you are grounded and authentic, it speaks volumes and it can cut
Mm.
through all sorts of things. And people, they look up, oh yeah, that makes sense,
No,
So you don't have to be, this um, sort of crying out person and hooray and everything. But you
no.
got to be authenticity and groundedness that cuts through
Yeah,
everything.
that's, that kind of frivolity is inauthentic. The heart, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's worth pointing out though, Jacqueline, correct me if I'm wrong, but you come from project management and software development. That's your background. That would have been a fairly male dominated profession back in the day, wouldn't it?
Yeah, also physics. There were
Well, so
5%
physics.
women.
So is that where you found, like being assertive in those environments for a woman, it can be more threatening than for men. Men tend not to. I often say to one of the key differences between being a woman and being a man is that when a woman goes out how often do they think about safety? Well, every time a woman goes out the door, they think about safety. How often does a
No, no,
man?
no, 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 no. I
All
have to
right, well,
challenge
okay,
that.
okay, okay.
I
Now
have to
challenge me on that one,
challenge
but let me
that.
let me let me finish, and then you can challenge me, okay? Men never think about it. Never. Basically, we don't. It's not a concern of ours. Many times I've heard women say that ideas they've not been able to express themselves in meetings. I've not been able to. So maybe I will draw that earlier comment. But what I'm trying to say here is that men tend to be blowhards, just like I just did, and I apologize for that. Aware that, but I'm saying that it takes some real courage when you're in a male-dominated environment to stand up and say your piece. But you've been there and you did that, Jacqueline. And that's the thing I want to know,
Yeah,
our
I
listeners
do
to
see
know.
it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I never had an issue with that. Maybe, it was how my grandfather raised me.
Mm.
He said at some point when I was very young, I said to him, I was 6 or 7, and I was really sad. And I said, I want to be a boy. And he's asked me, why do you want to be a boy? And I said, because the boys get all to do the fun stuff and the girls have to do that. And he said to me with utter conviction and grounded authenticity, he said, you don't have to be a boy to be that. You can be a girl and you can do whatever you want to do. And that's coming from someone who was born in 1905. And that has changed my fundamental confidence around this. And I think I do get that men have a different demeanor and that they can be much more outspoken or maybe a bit more dominant, and women have a different way. But when women learn that this different way, they don't have to yell like with men, they just have to be women, female, more embodying the female energies. And this is how I've mentored younger women when I was in the corporate. I said, you don't have to become a man. That's stupid. We want men and women. You just have to become grounded in your different approach. And it is true. I mean, that women ask a lot less for pay rise. I mean, I've seen that throughout my sort of 20 years, or maybe 18 years in management. um, and sometimes a woman does put her finger up and says, well, I think I deserve a pay rise and blah blah blah. But I'm not a fan of this artificially trying to make it easy for women. I do not think that's a good thing. I think there's a healthy balance in both. And there's also a way that women have that can be very undermining, very manipulative. They have a different way of expressing maybe aggression, which is more overt aggression, covert, hidden aggression. Um, and so, you know, and in the Western society, occasionally I do think of my safety when I walk down a dark alley and I think, should I be walking down here? But in general, and I was raised in a very unsafe environment when I was young, with a very high crime rate. And I could understand safety and not safety. So I think we have to, I mean, I'm not part of that.
Look, and I agree with you, and because I think what I'm trying to say, I'm actually in agreement with you here. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female. You stand in who you are authentically. You talked about your grandfather and those very, very wise words, and you've used the word grounded a couple of times now to in front of grounded in authenticity, and so, and I'm taking that to mean that it's this to be true. You've tested this and you know this to be true, and so you're grounded in your faith in your grandfather and really knowing what he's talking about. And so when he said to little Jacqueline, you can be everything you want to be. And this is what we are about, is asking the individual to be them,
That's
be
right.
authentic.
And when you've said it really nicely with, when you stand in your truth, when you know something to be true, it's like you embody it and you
Mm.
are grounded in it. And it is very hard for someone else to sort of attack you. And it does happen a lot. A lot of people in the public arena, can go because, they may be challenging a certain narrative, very publicly and openly, and then they're being attacked.
Mm.
But when they stand in their truth, at some point in time, they go beyond it and the attacks disappear.
Mm.
And, that's a sort of different example, but it is also a professional arena when people, go out and stand up for themselves. And also in the corporate and business world, um, when you're authentic, you stand in the truth. If that's, you've done your due diligence, and if that's what it is, then stand up for it
Yeah.
and say it and
You've
be
held
that.
you've held yourself to account and asked yourself.
Yeah,
I've heard a few people say, well, just because the mind proposes something doesn't mean that it's true. Just because it
yeah,
pops out, and it might be a recording, a reaction to a pattern. So test it against your heart and your gut.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
this really the truth? Is this
yeah.
really where does this come from? And do that homework. Getting back to this, you take you with you. You take the good parts too, not just the
That's
bad
right.
parts.
That's
But
that's
knowing
that's right.
knowing what is the truth, what is the truth, when you're in this rut, which I'm going to describe this, you're feeling forgotten, you got nowhere future, then the person that can rescue you is the one who's looking back at you
Mm.
in the mirror. But that's only going
Yeah,
to happen when you honor that person.
yeah. And that
If you don't
requires
honor
intention.
yourself, nobody's going to honor you.
Yeah. And it is important. I mean, that's beautifully said, and it brings us to the end. And I just want to close it up. It is important to be intentional about it, not just letting it happen. You got to be intentional about your authentic way of being and the truth and standing in it and standing up for it. And and that is actually very empowering. That is empowering. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well said, Jacqueline. Thank you for your time, folks. Like, share, click, comment, send questions. See you next
And
week.
we see you next week.